Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Your Story. I'm your host, Todd Nesloni, and each week I look to bring you a different guest who has encouraged, inspired, or challenged me in one way or another and bring them on to share some of their story in hopes that it inspires you to tell some of yours. I'm thrilled for this week's guest to have Olivia Aguinaga on with me. Olivia, thanks for being here. Kind of tell everybody who you are.
Well, my name is Olivia Aguinaga, and I've been teaching here in Navasota at John C. Webb Elementary, third grade, a few years of second, and third. So a total of going on 16 years.
Awesome. Well, Olivia, whenever I start these conversations, I always start with the same question. And that is, as kids, we dream of these things we're going to be when we grow up. So when you look back on what you were dreaming of as a kid, does it align at all with what you're doing now?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't think I ever really knew what I wanted to do. I'm really happy where I am in my life right now. I definitely did not get the result I was expecting. School was really, really difficult for me, and college was even more. It took me several years. I don't even want to say how many years to decide what I wanted to do. I changed several times, and this is where I ended up. So
So
I'm
how did
very
education
shocked.
even come on your radar?
I waited so long to finish school. I was taking so many classes. I ended up qualifying for so many associates. I think at the end I wanted to do business, and I was taking courses, and I was like, I was skipping classes. I was like, oh my God, I hate this class. And I started thinking like, I hate the class, but yet I want to do it for the rest of my life. It didn't make sense. So I don't know how education came in the picture, but
Right.
I'm really happy I did follow what I wanted to do at the end.
Well, you have had your entire career in elementary. And so was that always the draw for you, elementary, or has secondary ever been on your radar?
It's always been elementary. Just recently, I've kind of started getting a little thinking,
Uh-huh.
just because my girls are heading that way, and I just feel I want to be part. I want to be there. I want to be part of. I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah.
The first year, my oldest left Web, really hit me. I just felt like I was missing a part of her life that I want to be involved. I want to be more involved. But I'm really happy where I'm at right
Yeah.
now. So I don't know. I guess we'll wait on my little one that she's almost done. So I've got like 1 year more to kind of think about that.
To kind of figure it out where you want to do what you want to
Mhm.
do. Well,
Yes.
you mentioned you've got two girls. You are a very involved mother, but you also you can tell love your job. You get very involved with what you do as a career as well. So I know one question that I've got to ask, and I know you probably don't have the answer because very few do, but how do you balance feeling like you're a good parent and feeling like you're a good teacher when they both require so much?
I actually have a student teacher right now, and I was telling her, you've got to learn to draw the line, because you will never, no matter how late you stay at school, every day, if you will never catch up at school. So you just have to show yourself where to draw the line. When saying, maybe I'll have one day out of the week, I might stay a little later, but every day I try to leave on time, and do not take any stuff home, because once you are home, then it's time with my family. There's just no way I can hurry up and get everybody to bed and cook dinner and then let me start grading. So throughout the day, I've got to work smarter, and I've got to manage my, put your priorities, what is first, what needs to be done, what can the kids help you, just use your time wisely.
Well, and and one of the things I learned from getting to work with you is that you are incredibly creative. And I don't think like what you, because of your personality, that doesn't come off right away when people first meet you. And then they see the things that you do, and it's like, oh my goodness, like I've loved seeing some of your room transformations that you've done to really kind of inspire learning in the kids. And so I've got to ask, what has been one of your favorite transformations that you've done?
I don't think I have a favorite.
Besides the one where you set the fire alarm off.
They're all so different and they're all so exciting because just seeing the kids so involved, I guess I would say my very first one, to see that I just wasn't expecting it, to see
Yeah.
how engaged the kids were, to see that response, to see how excited. And at the same time, I was getting a lot from it, like catching like where they were low, what they were struggling with, which as if I would have done it in class, I'm just a normal way, I might have not seen it. And then it just, from there on, it just clicked a light bulb and I just went with it. And so when we're doing a unit and I kind of like, okay, we've kind of been doing the same thing. I'm bored, they're bored. It's time for a transition. And I actually started this when I started working with you because I was not a fan of this at all. I was like, I don't have time to do all that. No,
Mhm.
we've got to learn, we got to do this and this. And so when I did that one and I was like, wait a minute, the kids are learning and they are, and I can still do what I originally had planned, whatever concept, just making it a fun way for them to like it. So
And you've really made them yours too. Like you can see your personality and the transformations that you do. It's not just like, oh well, everybody was doing this really cool transformation, so I've got to do this one. It's like, no, you've really dove into what you love. And so I got to know that on the same element, is there one that you did that you're like, never again?
no, well, I don't think so. I've kind of liked them all. It's mainly, it's not so much the work we're doing. It's mainly the decor, like decorating,
Yeah,
like making the
yeah.
stuff and making the kids feel they are there. They are at a circus. They are at a bowling alley. Definitely, I would think, depending on the group, which activity and which, either one, it could be a bowling alley, glow in the dark, it could be any, for any group, but the level of the work, it just depends. And sometimes the
Uh,
kids just aren't quite ready to do a transformation, so sometimes I have to wait later on in the year. But they've all been a lot of fun. They're fun planning.
Well, I love that advice that you just said right there, that sometimes some groups just aren't ready for the types of transformations that you've done before, knowing your kids and when you can do that. So I think that that's awesome advice. And something else, Olivia, that you do is there's so many educators who take on little bitty things here on the side for additional income, and you actually do some virtual teaching as well with the company that I know you love. And so tell me a little bit how that even came to be.
A teacher told me, well, first of all, I've always wanted to make some extra income, but of course, something that was worth me going out, not take me away from my family.
Right.
So the only thing I've done in the past is summer school. And then it got to a point where the girls were older and I was having to wake them up to take them to summer school. They didn't have any summer school, but they're having to go with me. And I was like, is this even, I don't know. So a teacher told me about this that she had seen online. I was like, yeah, I saw it too, but is that even legit? And she said, yes, she was applying for it. So I went ahead and applied. I was still like, oh, is this really real? I tried it. I even opened up a separate account. I was like, I don't know. This just seems really weird. But I started going on YouTube and saw all these teachers, all this good stuff about VIP. So I was like, why not? So when I started, I stopped doing the summer school. This was something I could do all year long. It does not affect my family.
Mhm.
I am here in my home. I can just close the doors, say, hey, I'll be back like in an hour, close the doors, teach my classes, and be done. It's also very early in the morning and everybody's sleeping. So that also does not take me away from my family. So it works out.
Well, I've learned so much about VIP Kids from you and through the things that you've been doing. And I know another gentleman we worked with, Aaron Marvel, he's done some for it too. But you are bilingual. You work a lot with bilingual students in your everyday job. But the work that you've been doing with VIP Kids has been a little bit different, I think, for you because it's bilingual, but not in a language that you're familiar with. And so, have you learned? And I've never got to ask this, but I've always wanted to. Have you felt like that has made you a better bilingual teacher by teaching kids in a different language other than Spanish?
Um, it has helped me. It's helped me definitely use a whole lot more TPR in class. It has helped me. Sometimes we think we're speaking lower, or we think, but when somebody doesn't, like when they sometimes they want to tell me something in Chinese, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea. Do not, no, don't know Chinese, don't talk. And so it's made me slow down in class and definitely start using more visuals. I have to be very energetic in my VIP classes. And I think that kind of has transformed to my classroom.
Right.
Also, being up so early, I'm definitely wide awake when I get to school. So that has also helped me.
I bet. Well, Olivia, whenever I do these tell your story conversations, one question that I love to always throw in there is, as educators especially, we are bombarded with trainings, opportunities, other educators that we work with on campus who are all doing fantastic work. And sometimes that can cause us to compare ourselves or doubt our own skills. Do you ever find yourself kind of getting in that comparison trap or beginning to feel like you're not doing it as good as somebody else?
Mm,
And if not, how do you keep doubt at bay? Like, what do you do personally to not allow that to take root?
Well, right now with us, we don't get to see much of any other teachers being locked up in our classrooms. But no, I don't think I feel I really compare myself to other teachers that way.
Mhm.
You just kind of focus on your kids, and I might compare from last year's, what can I do different? Well, I did this last year, but why isn't it working?
Right.
Every year is just different with a
Mhm.
different group of kids. I've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you every year is different. No matter if this has worked, the next group will be different. So I am having to research and see what can I do. Even it goes for discipline, it goes things to motivate the kids. Everything is always different. I might do something and think it is the best thing in the world, and this gets the kids. But next year, it's like I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah.
It won't work. So when you're busy trying to compare and do better from last year and focus on the kids, it really doesn't give me time to compare with other
Right.
teachers. And also, I think it matters a lot, me being a veteran teacher.
Right. I love that.
So,
Well, Olivia, one way that I always love to end all of these conversations on is I believe, there's so many things we hold close to who we are and what we believe. And so if people are listening and watching today and they're going to walk away with one thing, what is your one thing for them?
one thing for them, as them being a teacher, or just
Whatever, if people heard you today and you only wanted them to hear one thing or to walk with one thing, what would you want them to walk away with?
um, something that I've picked up in the last couple of years. I think one thing that I think is very important is that you are responsible for your happiness.
Mhm.
Um, don't say it's my job, it's my family, it's my friends, it's my coworkers. Those things are involved, but you're the one that's responsible and say, you know what, this isn't working for me. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to follow what makes you happy. So don't blame anything or anybody around you. you are responsible, and it's up to you to make yourself happy.
And I think that is wonderful advice. I love that you are responsible for your own happiness. Don't allow others to be in charge of that. That's a great takeaway, Olivia. Well, I have been so excited for this conversation. So thank you for making some time for me today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everybody, for listening or watching another episode of Tell Your Story. Remember, you can check out past episodes on all the podcast stations or on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation with Olivia and that has encouraged you to get out there and tell your story, because every story